In case this is the first time you are joining us, my name is Susanna Creed, and Wellbeing Wednesday is basically our monthly segment that shows childcare providers and caregivers like yourselves simple ways to support your own well-being, because taking care of ourselves really is taking care of others. So whether you're an early childhood educator, director, parent, or someone who honestly just feels like a parent some days, you're sure to pick up tidbits of actionable advice about how to support your overall and holistic well-being and get back to feeling like yourself. So again, my name is Susanna Creed. I'm your host. I am a well-being coach with the Be Well, Care Well Arkansas program. This program is through Curricula Concepts, and we are supporting the well-being of our childcare providers across the state. So as you may be able to see on the little posty thing, still working on how all that tech works. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we decided to focus on women's health for the month of October for today's show. Sometimes we as women can get so caught up in taking care of everyone else's needs around us that we forget to take care of our own. If that's you, no worries. You are not alone. You are in good company, I promise. And if you are a man watching this, just so you know, women's health does indeed affect men as well. So if you are here and you are a man, thank you so much for the support. We love having you here. You're always welcome. So we are so excited to welcome our guest, Nicolle Fletcher, who serves as an educator, advocate, partner, and supporter for the clients she serves through her profession as a midwife, doula, health educator, and honestly, so much more. She has I think one outreach group, a professional business, a nonprofit that she started. So really, Nicolle is awesome. And she's going to be here to kind of just chat with us about women's health and different ways that we can go about supporting that. So I'm going to kick it over to you, Nicolle, and kind of start us off.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susanna. I just really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And it's really neat when you say, like, she's doing this, she's doing that. And sometimes we don't realize how much we actually do. And so my husband and I and our children, our 3 children, founded a nonprofit called City of Hope Outreach, also known as COHO. And COHO really advocates for the poor, the underserved, and the under-resourced. Right now, we've got a big initiative going called Hope Village, and we're building tiny homes for the homeless, for those that are without a home or kind of struggling, and some veteran help there. So that work, just alone, just that one piece of work can take a lot out of a person, right? When you're giving and you're doing. I also have founded a nonprofit called Ujima Maternity Network that serves to address the needs of Black women and our maternal and infant care here in the state of Arkansas. We actually rank 4th highest in infant and maternal mortality. So it's a kind of scary place for Black mothers and Black children, where we're at greatest risk for losing our lives during pregnancy, or even our children up to the first year of life afterwards. Again, that's another work that, like, it's passion work, and it's so important, and it's easy to forget about yourself when you're giving so much and the causes that you're serving are so great. So that's what I do. Those are the organizations that I've established. I'm a business owner. I own Nurturing Arrows Doula Coaching Services. My last name is Fletcher, and Fletcher means arrow maker. So anything that you see kind of around, like you see in my office back here, we've got arrows. And so we look at our family and our children as arrow makers that we're launching out into the world. And I think just the process of, like, carving out an arrow and, like, making that point and aiming it to a specific task, again, takes so much out of you. I'm going somewhere with this, so I'm layering all of these things so that you can get a better understanding of, like A, she knows what she's talking about. And B, like, I've been there, like, right there with many of you, caring for and pouring your heart out for others. So yeah, that's what I do there. So yes, I teach childbirth classes. I do lactation support. I am a birth doula. I'm an apprentice midwife, so I'm not a licensed midwife at the time, as of yet. I'm still
That'll be
in
added to
that
your resume
practice.
later, right?
Yeah, adding into it. So I'm running up and down the road between Central Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas, where my preceptor is, and doing births all along the way. And that really does take a lot out of a person. And so those that are listening and kind of joining on, there's a lot that you give. And oftentimes when you're a person that gives and gives up of yourself and shares and really is passionate about the work that you do, you are the first person that is forgotten about. You forget about you first. And that's, I mean, and I know that because I've walked that. And I'm like kind of battling every now and again. I'm like, okay, Nicolle, you are a priority too. Get yourself together. And then I'm like, but this person needs, and I have to da. But the truth is, I'm no good to anyone else if I'm not good to me. And what we have to do in our society is really learn how to focus on ourselves so that we can then give and be better and better stewards of who we are to other people. I often think of, when we're the airplane, like you're flying in the plane, and then the stewardess or the flight attendant stands up in front of you and goes, if something goes wrong and we're going down and the oxygen mask drop down, please take that mask, put it on yourself, and then help the children or the other people around you or others. So the mission and the point is, hey, sis, bruh, like, you got to take care of you in order to be of value, of resource or benefit to others. And so that's a big thing. And it's a hard thing to get a hold to. It really is. It's a hard concept to get a hold to, because those that care, those that are in the care industry or the caring industry, again, that's your first thing, is to neglect oneself. So here's some basic tips on how to do that. I want to talk a little bit about this thing called glyphosate. And I'm about to go all in.
Okay. On you. I was like, hold on. And actually, wait, before you dive into this, because I'm kind of curious. We got a couple ladies. I mean, as soon as you started talking about this, it was like boom, 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 boom. Comments.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So trust me, I've had to learn how to do the dual with my phone and then this. So this is me living my attempted life as a YouTuber.
I love it. I'm
going to pretend that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but I'm curious, for those of you who are listening, sound off in the comments and let us know, like, have you ever felt like you've kind of forgotten yourself? I mean, sometimes when we feel like drained, but a lot of times, we'll feel guilty, especially as women, like we feel guilty for taking time for ourselves and setting those boundaries. And in doing that, we feel very alone. We're like, oh, I'm the bad person because I have to take time for myself. So I want you all, if you've ever felt like you kind of let yourself not be a priority, or if you've forgotten about yourself, tell us in the comments, because we want to see we're not alone. We are together, and that you're among good company. So definitely, I'd love to see, who has maybe experienced that, and just know that you're sharing it with a group that supports you. So anyways, continue on.
Yeah.
Glyphosate, let's go.
Glyphosate. So glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup. And this information is brand new to me. When I say brand new, I'd say about 3 months brand new to me. It's the active ingredient in Roundup, and it's sprayed over our crops just to get rid of like weeds and different things. But what happens is it's also running off and getting into our soil. And so our soil is depleted. And so we've got depleted soil. We're like, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm eating fruits and vegetables. I'm taking care of myself. But you're having food that's also depleted. And so we're not taking care of ourselves well, because our food sources are kind of jacked up. So, so there's just a couple things. I found this company that's just been really awesome, that has superfoods, organic, plant-based superfoods, that is done with regenerative farming, and it's wind dried, and it's like you scoop and you shake it and you drink it, but it's actual food. And so I have experienced, like, being a part of this company and utilizing these products, real foods, has actually helped me to be more available and more present for my clients, my work. So it's one of the ways that I've shown up for myself, is actually taking care of myself through what I'm consuming and what I'm eating, and being intentional about that. So the first, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, my jaw was like dropping. So I feel like a lot of times we'll hear, oh, nutrition is important. And it's interesting because you're, coming on for women's health. And like the first thing we talk about is nutrition. And one of the things with Be Well, Care Well is we look at the holistic view. So we actually look at 8 different dimensions of wellness, not
Yes.
just, physical and what we eat and how we feel.
Yes.
And what we talk about a lot of times is how often you can't do one without it impacting the others.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting that you're talking about like overall health and
Yes.
women's health specifically, and how it connects with the nutritional aspect. And it's like, oh, these are separate, right? And really they're all kind of part of a continuum.
Yeah. And as you heal in one area, you heal in other areas, right? So the body
Love that.
multiple layers simultaneously. And so if you're dealing with stressors, like if work is a stressor for you, or home is a stressor, relationship issues, all of those things impact how we feel and how we function. And what we forget oftentimes is sleep and what we put in our mouths make a huge difference in our overall well-being. So sleep. If you can't sleep at night, your body is not going through the cycle of recovery to like rest, heal, and fix things that need to be fixed, because the body like knows how to like handle itself. We just have to give it a couple things to make sure we're in the right spot. And things that are quick and easy oftentimes are like over processed and unhealthy things, but we're trying to like, we're on the go. We're trying to make this happen. And I cared about myself. I got this. I don't know, like I stopped and I actually ate food. One of my biggest issues is not eating. Honestly, like I can wake up and I can go a whole day really till about 2 or 3 and be like, ooh, Nicolle, you haven't had food today.
Okay. See, I'm the opposite. And I feel like a lot of times people will go one way or the other,
Right,
where it's like,
right.
oh, I'm always like hand to mouth,
Mhm.
like especially with like the young kids we work with, like,
Yes.
The oral fixation. It's like
Yes.
as
Yeah.
adults, when stress
Yeah.
comes out for me, it's that hand to mouth. There's a comfort
Yeah.
to it.
Yes.
But it's also interesting because you can be so stressed and be going so much, and you're like, oh, that thing called food. I guess I
Right.
should have that today.
Right, right. And so we just need to look at food a little bit different. As like I look at food as gas, right? So for your car needs gas. And if you put the wrong gas in your car's not going to function properly because it's not going to figure out how to make that work. It's like, what is this foreign substance? And a lot of times we're putting foreign substances in our bodies, expecting our bodies to work and like it's fuel, but it's the wrong fuel. And so our body doesn't know how to read it and then take that fuel and make an energy and make us feel well and be energetic and be well. So our bodies are amazing and super duper complex, and they compromise in a lot of ways for what we don't do well. And so instead of creating a system that is based off a compromise, let's go ahead and start getting some of the right things in our bodies so it doesn't have to compromise and we can feel better and we can experience life new. So what? Oh, go ahead.
You might be about to talk about this, so just
Okay,
tell me if it's coming later. Because
okay.
one of the things I know for myself and also for a lot of the people we work with, we're either going and we don't have time to make something, or we don't have the money to go and like go to Whole Foods and get everything organic. And also sometimes we're in a food desert, which means we have like a Wendy's and a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And that's all the groceries we have. So in those cases where money and resources and time maybe are difficult, how can we still put the right fuel into our bodies, even in those situations?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Again,
a hard one.
It is. I think it's a prioritization in some cases, like prioritizing that and saying that it actually matters. So when you say like, I don't have the money for it, you've got money for something and you're spending it somewhere. And that's more often the truth than not. Like,
oh, that hurts.
I know it does. But we have money for something and we're spending it somewhere, but why not and it's so weird because you're like, well, the mom guilt of like, well, I need to do this first, or I need to buy this person this first, or do this for this other person.
Yes, it's like, oh, but my kid needs this. My kid
Yes,
wants these AirPods,
yes, yes.
and I have to
But
get that.
can't drum that beat hard enough that like if you don't take care of you first, you're not doing well for everyone else. And then you're teaching the next generation to do the same thing. And we're repeating this cycle. So yeah, there are places for sure that have food deserts, and the resources aren't available. With this company that I'm a part of, like they deliver it to your door. So
Wait, hold on, wait. Dial that back.
yes.
Where do they deliver? What is the name, and what do they get? I was like, wait, I need to know this.
Right. So the company is called Purium, and it stands for pure and premium. The Dave Sandoval, the founder, and Amy, they are the reasons, those individuals specifically are the reasons why we have our USDA organic certified labeling, because they were talking about like our soil and really opening up the awareness that our soil is depleted. So I actually am a partner with this company because of what I do and what I see, and the need for people to have accessible good superfoods available to them at their door. We're always worried about sickness and our overall health. We have to fuel ourselves with the baseline to get started somewhere. And so this is why I've joined this company. This is why I share it, because it's all brand new to me. It was brand new that like there's glyphosate that actually acts as a carcinogenic in our bodies. It's the active ingredient in Roundup, and it's sprayed over everything, and it's water soluble. So we don't understand why we don't feel good. It's because like some of the stuff that we're eating and drinking and eating in the air is just a part of that. So there's like a good little detox, right, that you can take, and it kind of removes, after 6 weeks of usage, it removes 70% of the glyphosate in your diet, which is huge, and it's third-party tested. So I'm a big advocate of that, and I probably could spend more time than I need to on that. If you want more information, like holler at me, because I want to make sure if anyone needs it, that they have it. They also have a sister company that is called the Million Mom Movement that really focuses on food deserts, and good food should not be only available to the elite, right? We are all human, and we all deserve to be able to have good food at our table. And so they have a scholarship program where if you can't afford it, you can apply for the scholarship. You could be a scholarship winner, and all of your superfoods can be delivered straight to your door, which is amazing. So if you want more information on that, holler at me. I'm happy to share all of that with you.
And I'm putting that in the comments too.
Okay.
So the information on Purium, if you're interested, and then I'm also putting Million Women Movement in there as well. Also, these are just FYI for anybody listening, these are not product plugs. Like this is just like conversation about like, okay, well, here's some things that come up. So just know that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a conversation, and this is how I would talk to anybody. This is just a conversation. But let's talk about sleep. Let's talk about what time you go to bed and how that affects your functioning. So 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., that's a great sleep window, and your body is actually cycling. So if you're staying up past 10, 11, 12, kind of up in those hours, then you're going to get another cycle of munchies, and you're going to want to eat during that time. And your body needs at least 12 hours to just kind of digest some of the heavier foods that we've had throughout the day and kind of do its job. So we're really ultimately setting ourselves up with the right fuel to be energized, to show up and to be present for the kids that we're running around like chasing. And I know, being a woman of size myself, I've struggled because I've worked in childcare, and I've been on the kids are energetic. They want to run around. Different modules that you have require you to be active, and some people aren't able to be active with their kids. But those are the things that we're looking for, as far as like modules, and making sure that like our kids are meeting certain markers and certain health goals. So those are things that you're implementing, your organizations are often implementing, but then some of your providers aren't well enough to do that. And so again, let's turn back inward and let's take care of ourselves so that we can then show up and show up well with energy to match where those kids are, to be present with them. And then parents, so you're not just slumped and tired from just living, like waking. And when you wake up tired, like you've slept a whole night and you wake up exhausted, that's the problem. We're not getting good rest. We're not getting good sleep. So those are just some of the things that I want you to walk away with. Like, one, let's get some sleep. Well, no, let's go back. One, we're going to prioritize ourselves. So our number one is we're going to prioritize ourselves. We're going to put our own oxygen mask on, and then we're going to share with others. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to sleep so our body can actually recover. You're going to go to bed, set a boundary, set a decent bedtime, and set an alarm so your body, your circadian rhythm can be more consistent of like, I sleep, and then eventually you won't even need an alarm to wake up because your body will be like, all right, it's time for us to do our thing. Let's get going. Right? So number one, take care of yourself. Number two, we're going to sleep. Number three, we're going to pay attention to the food that we fuel our bodies with. So we're going to be intentional about having some more plant-based things, and we're going to do more of like let's try like an 80-20. And if this is all brand new to you, let's try a 60-40, right? So like, of course, sorry. Let's
Always
try
on call.
60-40. So like 60% of the time, you're eating raw, plant-based, maybe even organic foods. 60% of the time. 40% of the time, you just make it what it is. You do what it do, baby. And then eventually we move to 70%. We move to 80%. And when we can get to an 80-20, where 80% of our food is like grown from the ground, it's natural sources, our bodies know what to do with that. Our body goes, oh, that's actual fuel. That I know what to do with. This is going to give me energy. This is going to keep me awake and help me thrive. So that's my things. I gave probably more than I planned on, but there you go.
No, that is okay. That is okay. I love it. And I love, just kind of hitting on a couple of small things and starting small. So much of the conversations I have with people, especially women that I work with, it's, what is something small? I'm not saying, okay, you have to go from having no physical activity in your day because of injuries to working out, for an hour and a half, 3 times a week. Like, no, but it's like, can you walk? Can you walk maybe for 5 minutes, 1 day a week, and then 2 days, and then you move in. So you kind of talk about that with the nutrition, where it's like, it doesn't have to be everything is now organic. And if it's not, throw it out of your house. Like, no, it's saying, okay, where can I maybe look at my plate and say, let me add 1 veggie or fruit to this meal.
Right.
And try that. See if you can do it 1 meal and, per day, and then add more as you feel you can. So I really do love that. And we actually do have, we have a couple comments, and we have a question as well. So Classy says, I love the permission to take baby steps. Jamie is eating her roasted okra as she's listening to us right now. And then Miss Karen has a question, and I'm really curious to get your take on this. Is there value in taking naps, since you talked about sleep?
Yes. Like, yes.
Okay.
Like, we don't do enough listening to our body. So if we were to listen to our body and our body says we need rest, then you need to follow what your body is saying. I think if we're resting well through the night, our need for naps during the day might decrease. But if during the day you're saying that your body's saying you need a nap and it's available for you to do, let's listen to it. Let's listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And say you're feeling your body is tired, right? But you're not able to take a nap because you're at work, or you got to cook food.
Yep.
What other alternatives could there be? Because sometimes we feel like, oh, we need a jolt, so we get, a Mountain Dew, a Coke, or we, just kind of power through it and just keep pushing, or we eat something sugary or get caffeine. Like, what can you do if you feel your body needs that sleep and a nap, but you can't do it at that time?
Yeah, such a good question. I take beets, which doesn't sound very lovely. But I have beets, and it does really just kind of give me that uplifting energy to kind of keep going. So fuel yourself with food that's going to nourish. So the quick fix of like caffeine does for a moment, but then it spikes your blood sugar. You're like, and
here's my giant mug that is half
right.
the size of my face.
But that will spike you for a minute and give you temporary energy, but then leave your body slumped later. And then again, your body's having to work overtime to kind of make that better for you. So start with some water. I mean, it's so weird, but like water, maybe some water with electrolytes might be your first kind of go-to to kind of get things moving. But yeah, that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
What is water with electrolytes? That's not Gatorade, because Gatorade is so much sugar. So if any of y'all are hearing electrolytes to think Gatorade, just know that that is almost more sugar than a can of Coke.
Yeah.
So what is an alternative
So
drink to that?
this one is good. It doesn't have as many, oh gosh, I always like the name of it, just blows me away every time. Okay. Coconut water. Like,
Coconut water.
That one. Coconut water is a great one. It's a great source. Now it's an acquired taste. I used to say that coconut water tasted a little bit like sweat dirt. So you have to kind of get your mind wrapped around, I'm about to get into some sweat dirt and then I'm gonna have energy. You gotta do it right. So coconut water is a great one. You can also make your own kind of like, get like maybe a calcium magnesium capsule and some sea salt and like grind that together and like pour it into your water, shake it up. That could be another alternative.
So calcium, magnesium, and then put like just grind some sea salt, shake it up, and that's water with electrolytes minus the calories.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's one more that. No. Okay, that's it that I can think of right now.
That's okay. And real quick, you said beets. Did you mean like music beets or like actual like nom nom eat beets?
Nom nom beets.
Okay, so like beet juice or just like roasted beets or beet chips or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We had a question about that. Yeah. And then this is, I have to ask this question. Sorry, y'all, we might run over just a couple minutes because this is such a big one. You know, there's a comment that says, sometimes I feel like self-care, planning healthy meals are just one more thing on my plate. So when you have somebody who feels like that, and I mean, I've definitely felt like that, and I know a lot of our early care providers are feeling that. What can they do when it feels like just another weight on them?
Yeah, I would encourage you to talk to those that are around you, like a partner or a family member or someone kind of close, and like have this kind of village mindset of people that can help take up the slack. One of the things, my husband was in the military. And so one of the things that we did when we were really focusing on like healthy eating was different neighbors, we would rotate taking turns making meals for each other and our households. So if it was my turn, I would make a meal for my house and like 2 of my neighbors and enough for 2 of my neighbors. And I would take that over to them. So that was a night that particular neighbor didn't have to worry about cooking and having something healthy for their family. So if you've got 7 families, you've got one night out of the week that you're doing a mass cook, and then the other nights you guys are sharing. So look at finding and establishing community where you can link arms, because that's a big deal. And yeah, it does feel like sometimes one more thing on your plate, but it's the one thing that you need to do so that tomorrow and the next day, it doesn't feel like that. So eventually that will change. But right now, if you're in the thick of it, you got to go through it.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because actually one of those 8 dimensions that I mentioned earlier is social well-being. We are social creatures by nature, and especially with the pandemic, that's hard. And especially with health and with women, we tend to feel like we're in it on our own, or like we should know the answers. We should be able to do it ourselves. But I love what you said, build on that social capital. If you are working in an early childhood education setting, if you are working at a daycare right now, you know, especially if you're like in Be Well, Care Well, some of you know, we work with all of you there. Work together to say, how can we support each other? Maybe one person, you know, one time a month, everybody brings, you know, something homemade that's healthy, like a new recipe. And then you don't have to worry about your own lunches, you know, every time, or like when you're going to eat, you know. If you, one of our groups in CrossFit does this amazing thing called Walking Wednesdays. And so, you know, grab your coworker and say, hey, have you gotten your walk in? Okay, let's take our classes and let's go walk around the track, you know. Find those people at your work. And I know a lot of times we get nervous because there's like that fear of rejection, like, is this person going to think I'm weird? But like, you're not. That means you are strong for asking for that, for reaching out for that, and building and using that community, because I guarantee you, I'm almost 100% certain that you are not the only one who wants that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, really build on that community. So if it feels like one more thing for you, it probably feels like one more thing for everybody else. So ask people, hey, do you want to go on this, let's add one fruit to our diet every day, you know, for the next week, and let's see what happens, because it's easier with somebody else.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. Establishing community is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. We actually did really well. We're only over by about like 2 minutes, so we're going to really quickly close and wrap up here. So I want to thank you, Nicolle, again for joining us today and sharing just some of these amazing ideas for how we as women, and also for those who are not identifying as women, how they can also support women's health, especially this month, and how we can prioritize ourselves, prioritize our nutritional needs, as well as prioritize our rest and sleep. So we also do want to give a special shout out to our partners over at U of A's Early Care and Education Projects. They are actually the ones who brought Be Well, Care Well to Arkansas. And so by default, they are also the ones who help bring Wellbeing Wednesdays to everybody. So please make sure to, if you're watching, follow Curricula Concepts on Facebook and Instagram so you don't miss a thing. If you like today's show, share it with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever. And if you are a child care provider and want to learn more about enrolling in Be Well, Care Well, so that's where we work with your specific site, whether it's a hippie program, whether it's a center, whether it's a in-home daycare, it doesn't matter the kind. You can apply for Be Well, Care Well, and one of our coaches works with you over the course of a year to really create a culture that supports well-being, building on those social community strengths, and really helping you all just get back to feeling like yourself. You can learn more about that at curriculaconcepts.com/Be Well, Care Well. I will put it in the comments. I've also put all of Nicolle's wonderful initiatives and her contact info in the comments. So feel free to, reach out. I hope that was okay to share. You send it to me in the email. So I was like, okay, it's fine. And then I will also put my information. So if you're interested in Be Well, Care Well, the information is in the comments. This video will be saved to the videos of our page, and it's also going to go on the Curricula Concepts YouTube page. So with that, I am your host, Susanna Creed, once again with Be Well, Care Well. This has been another Wellbeing Wednesday, and we are wishing you well for the rest of the month.
Oh, it's sweet.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.